Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobby Capucci, and this is Daily Drop number 60. All right, we got a lot of news tonight, so we're going to have 3 articles for you. And the first article is from The Guardian, and it has to do with Donald Trump and his claims that he does not know Prince Andrew, which are absolutely ridiculous on their face. And one wonders why he has to say he doesn't even know the man. Obviously, he knows him. They've played golf together. They've had pictures taken together. Now, that doesn't mean that, like I said with Bill Clinton earlier, that doesn't mean that he's involved in any sort of nonsense. And to be honest with you, if the media had anything on Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein, believe me, folks, they would be running it. All they have is these sort of small links here. And to be honest with you, this isn't enough. We need substantial evidence, right? So we have this article about Donald Trump and his ridiculous statement, because that's exactly what it is, a ridiculous statement that he doesn't know who Prince Andrew is. So we have that article for you. And another article from the Daily Mail. This will have to do with Ghislaine Maxwell. According to the transcript yesterday from the BBC report, they said that she was being spoken to by the FBI, but this article here from the headline doesn't seem to say anything about that, and I can't find anything else to corroborate that. So I'm not too sure what's going on there. We're going to have to be in a wait-and-see pattern for that one, I'm guessing. And then our third article is 9 more women have come forward to accuse Jeffrey Epstein, with the youngest of them being a whole whopping 13 years old. Now, if that doesn't make you sick, folks, I don't know what does. So we got a lot to get to tonight, so I'm not going to go too crazy with this opening monologue here. But there's just a lot. There's a lot going on, right? And there's a lot for us to digest, and there's a lot of layers for us to peel back, and we have to be careful of the disinformation. We really have to be careful of them muddying the waters. Look, I think it's important that we talk about the fact that Donald Trump is lying, that he says he doesn't know Prince Andrew. That's just a straight up lie, right? But at the same time, is that statement, does it warrant enough for it to be on the first 3 pages of the Google search 12 times or however many times it is? That's probably a bit of an overestimate there, but it's all the major headlines, all the major outlets. Have any of those outlets run the story that Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton were at the Zorro Ranch? See, this is what I'm talking about. You have to be careful what you're ingesting from these media outlets. And like I said, we're going to discuss it tonight. We're going to discuss the whole Donald Trump Prince Andrew thing tonight, and we're going to break it down like I do every other article, right? Because like I've told you guys, every single podcast, it seems like, I have zero dog in this fight. The only person people I care about are these victims. So if Donald Trump was involved in enabling Jeffrey Epstein in any way, or if he was involved, obviously, in the trafficking, then I want him to face as much justice as I want Bill Clinton to face, or Jeffrey Epstein to face, or Ghislaine Maxwell, or Prince Andrew. But I find it a bit disingenuous that the American media is latching onto this situation where Prince Andrew and Donald Trump have obviously met, and they've been at functions together, but they're just ignoring the fact that Bill Clinton, in another series of breadcrumbs, was at this guy's ranch. Not only him, but Hillary Clinton as well. And you have Hillary Clinton who gets up there and yells and screams about how half the country are deplorables, yet she's hanging out with a convicted pedophile. Her husband's been accused of rape by, Juanita Broderick. So let's be real here, folks. Right? If we're going to judge things, judge things from the center, and we're going to judge this case correctly, then we're going to need to take whatever sort of glasses off that are rose-colored and biased, and we're going to need to just focus on the cases. So, if you would like to contact me, you could do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That is BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. All right, so let's jump into our first article, and it's from The Guardian, and it's the one about Donald Trump. Let's get right to it. Photos contradict Trump's claim to not know Prince Andrew. Donald Trump has falsely claimed not to know the Duke of York as pressure rises on the latter to submit to questioning in America over his links to the sexual abuser Jeffrey Epstein. The U.S. president was asked during an event at the U.S. ambassador's residence in London on Tuesday about the Queen's son having stepped down from royal duties after his disastrous BBC interview about the allegations. I don't know, Prince Andrew, but that's a tough story. It's a very tough story, he answered. Yeah, you think, Donald Trump? It's a pretty tough story, isn't it? I mean, really, dude? You don't know Prince Andrew? I'm seeing pictures right here of you with him in 2000. Why would you lie about that? What's the point? Why even lie? It's almost like Donald Trump is like his initial reaction to anything that even has to do with controversy is to just be like, nope, I don't know that person. I've never hung out with them. That's the end of it. When we know that's not true, like he didn't really know Steve, the Scaramucci character, etc., etc. Come on, Donald. In reality, he met the prince on numerous occasions. The two have been pictured together at various events, including a party at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort on February 12, 2000, at which Trump was also separately pictured with Epstein. Look, we know that Epstein hung out at Mar-a-Lago. We know that Virginia Roberts was a towel girl at Mar-a-Lago. All right, we know this. This is evidence. This is factual-based evidence. We know that she was groomed and picked up from there. All right, so that is all we know about that. And we also know that Donald Trump threw Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago, supposedly over a business deal gone wrong. So, I'm not buying the line that Trump doesn't know Andrew. That's a bunch of BS. Anyone paying attention, even the most ardent Trump supporter, has to admit that's obviously a bunch of BS. But the question is, why would he lie about it? It just doesn't seem like there's any reason to lie about it. The president has referred to the convicted sex offender who took his own life in jail in August as a terrific guy and a lot of fun to be with. Trump has himself denied numerous accusations of sexual abuse by different women. All right, so here's the problem, folks, right? And here's my biggest problem with all these accusations against Trump. The media has done nothing but disparage the guy, right? So what they have done is every little thing that the man does, they blow up and they act like it's this huge, gigantic deal. So when he does commit crimes, maybe, or things that are obviously untoward, half of the country is just going to look at it and be like, oh, that's the media at it again. So even if something is credible, the media has done not only the victims a disservice, but the country a disservice because they can't tell the damn truth. Lawyers for 5 women who have accused Epstein of abusing them have called upon Andrew to give evidence about what he knows, saying he could have important information about trafficking for sexual abuse. The prince has consistently and categorically denied the allegations, which Buckingham Palace said were false and without foundation. He said he regrets maintaining relations with Epstein after his conviction for sexual offenses. One of Epstein's victims, Virginia Roberts, alleges that she was trafficked to have sex with Andrew on 3 occasions between 2001 and 2002, on the instructions of Ghislaine Maxwell, a socialite and friend of both Epstein and the prince. In an interview with BBC's Panorama program that was broadcast on Monday, Roberts said, This is not some sordid sex story. This is a story of being trafficked. This is a story of abuse, and this is a story of your guy's royalty." All right, folks, look, you see what they're doing here now? They use that headline. They gave you like a couple paragraphs about Donald Trump and Prince Andrew, but there's no there, right? So what they've done is they veered into this other end of the other Andrew story. They've intersected the story, right? What we have established so far about Donald Trump is he's pretty much a scumbag. He's a liar, right? That's pretty much established. And that's not a knock on him as a politician. These are character traits, okay? So everyone out there, rooting for Trump, I'm going to tell you the same exact thing that I tell the people on the left. Suspend your confirmation biases here. Think out of the echo chamber, all right? Trump's a human being. He's just like everyone else. He puts his pants on the same way we do in the mornings, folks. Now, again, we can't be running around saying that he was involved in any sort of sex trafficking, though. All right? We don't have that evidence. Robert said it was wicked and scary time in her life. I had just been abused by a member of the royal family. She added, I just didn't expect it from royalty. I didn't expect it from someone that people look up to and admire in the royal family. I couldn't comprehend how the highest levels of the government, powerful people, were allowing this to happen. Not only allowing it to happen, but participating in it. So you could take that many different ways, right? Virginia Roberts has never claimed that she has been around Donald Trump or that Donald Trump has been involved in any sort of sexual trafficking or abuse. And the only girl who has come out and said that, well, we saw what happened with her whole entire story. It just fell apart, right? And I'm not saying that she doesn't have a story. I'm not saying that there's no there. But what I'm saying is I haven't been able to find the evidence, folks. And I have looked high and low. I have searched high and low for credible evidence. But look, we all know in this highly politicized time, not only in the country, but in the world, if anyone had any evidence of Donald Trump being involved in this trafficking ring, it would be out. All right, it would be out. Somebody would have sold it already. Somebody would have leaked it to the New York Times, the Post. These are people with vast resources, folks. All right, if they want to put opposition research together, they'll put it together. Look, if Fusion GPS put together the Steele dossier, if they really wanted to get Trump and there was some there, they would have added this. They wouldn't have talked about hookers peeing on beds. All right, so look, I'm not here to tell you that Trump is not a scumbag. I believe he is. Do I believe that he should be anyone's moral compass? No, I do not. Do I believe that he likes to tell lies? Yes, I do. But do I also believe that the alternative to him being elected in Hillary Clinton was worse? I also do believe that. So that is where we're at with the Donald Trump situation. This is the story that I've seen 900 headlines on. So we need to discuss it, right? Look, I'm telling, this is how I roll here. You guys understand that? If you're just tuning in and this is the first time you've listened, I'm not playing political games here. I'm not playing with no bias. I'm not playing with no kid gloves. If you're involved in this, you need to answer for it. Donald Trump needs to answer for why he's lying. That I guess it's why is the sky blue? Right? Donald Trump lies when he doesn't need to lie, and he makes his life a lot more complicated. Some people say he's playing 4D chess, right? I don't know. 4D checkers, I don't know what he's doing. I'm not in the guy's mind, and honestly, I'm not one of these guys that follows him closely, right? It's just not my deal. All right, so the next article we have is from Fox News, and the headline is, 9 more women accuse Jeffrey Epstein of sex abuse dating back to 1985. 1985, folks. I was 5 years old when this dude was starting to molest people. So this guy was molesting people from 1985, at least, all the way up until this son of a bitch committed suicide. Under everybody's nose, and nobody knew a damn thing, huh? 9 more women have come forward with claims that they were sexually abused by convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, with one accuser saying she was just 13 when the abuse began. All right, so at least they started off with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, and I didn't have to correct them, right? The lawsuit, filed in New York State Court in Manhattan on Tuesday, alleges incidents of sexual abuse between 1985 and 2007. The accusers are listed as Jane Doe 1 through 9, and their claim is against Darren Indyke and Richard Kahn, the executors of Epstein's estate, which is valued at $577 million. What they should definitely be doing is hiring a forensic accountant, because my man Jeffrey Epstein, a lot more than $577 million, folks. I don't know if it's buried under his bed. Maybe that's just us Italians that do that. Or if he has it stashed in the Caymans, or if he has it stashed with his buddies in Saudi Arabia, or if his buddies in the Mossad have it. But I'm telling you right now, as sure as the sun is gonna rise tomorrow, this clown had more than $577 million squirreled away. And you could take that to the bank. Last month, Indike and Khan asked a U.S. Virgin Islands judge to establish a victims' compensation fund, which they said would allow Epstein's accusers to proceed with a confidential, non-adversarial alternative to litigation. Oh, yeah, I bet you want it to be confidential, huh? Any of these lawyers that take these kind of cases, they're just chasing the money. That take these kind of deals, they're just chasing the money. Look, I get it. These girls have been through it, right? But there is not a jury on the planet, folks, that isn't going to award these girls dough. It might take a little bit of time, right? It might take a little bit of time, but they'll win their cases in court. And not only that, it'll provide during discovery evidence that'll take down other people. More of these sons of bitches, because there's plenty of them out there, folks. There are plenty of them out there. Jordan Merson, a lawyer for the 9 women, told Fox News that he was open to a fund that has the goal in mind of asset allocation and not asset preservation. If the idea is we are going to give each of these women a little bit of money and make sure that it's okay, that is unacceptable. All of my clients have been severely injured. Horrible mental issues that they have to live with on a daily basis as a result of what this man did to them. Merson said the suit has been planned for months. All right, in lawyerese that says, sure, we'll take your dough, but it has to be an astronomical amount. And I get it. Look, I understand these women, they've had hard lives because of this stuff. I can't even begin to imagine, folks, what it must be like to be a woman who has been sexually assaulted, especially by somebody like this. As a man, I can't even begin to understand, and I don't even try. I don't even try to put myself in those shoes, because it's just absolutely positively mind-numbingly sad to think about. These people are the sickest, most disgusting sons of bitches on the face of earth. But at the same time, these lawyers need to understand as well that to prevent this from happening in the future, these people must be exposed. And if you're signing these NDAs and there's no way that this is ever going to see the light of day, well, I don't think that works. So there has to be another option, be it crowdfund these girls as the public, put something together, GoFundMes for these girls, whatever it may be. But we need to get to the discovery phase in these cases. We need to see the evidence. 7 of the accusers claim that Epstein and his associates sexually assaulted, abused, and battered them. 6 say they were raped, and 2 of those say the abuse happened repeatedly. Okay, so let's back up here. Let's reread that. 7 of the accusers claim that Epstein and his associates, plural. Okay, who are the associates? This is what I'm talking about. If they just settle, we're never going to get those names. We need to know who the associates were, so the associates aren't running around raping other kids. The earliest allegations against Epstein made by Jane Doe 2 dates from 1985, when she was 23 years old. Another allegation made by Jane Doe 1 dates from 1990, when she was 14 years old. The other 7 accusers say their abuse by Epstein started between 2000 and 2007. 2 of those accusers, Jane Doe 3 and Jane Doe 4, were 13 and 15 years old respectively when they met Epstein. The other 5 were between 19 and 22 years old. And look, since we're on the subject, between 2000 and 2007 is when these accusers say that their abuse started, and they were 13 and 15, 2 of them. This was smack dab in the middle while the Clintons were taking their holidays over to the Zorro Ranch, folks, all right? This is when they were going over to Cowboy Town that looked like Westworld to live their beautiful life with their billionaire pedophile buddy. Why isn't that played out across all the media in America? Who are they protecting, and why? More than a dozen other women already have brought claims against Epstein's estate. The lawsuit was filed one day after alleged victim Virginia Roberts detailed claims she was trafficked by Epstein and forced to have sex with Prince Andrew on 3 occasions nearly 20 years ago. The interview with Roberts, broadcast on BBC Panorama, painted a detailed portrait of how Epstein abused dozens of young women at his luxury properties in the Caribbean and New York. And they just stop at New York. How about in Florida? How about in New Mexico? Roberts, now 35, detailed a sexual encounter with Andrew at the London home of Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's on-again, off-again lover, who has also been described as a purveyor of underage girls and another sexual abuser. Why do they leave this out? There was a bath, she said. It started there, then went into the bedroom. It didn't last very long. The whole procedure, it was disgusting. He got up and said thanks. I sat there in bed, just horrified and ashamed, and I felt dirty. In a statement provided to Fox News, Buckingham Palace reiterated Andrew's previous denial of Roberts' allegations. It is emphatically denied the Duke of York had any form of sexual contact or relationship with Virginia Roberts. Any claim to the contrary is false and without foundation. Epstein died August 10th after being found unconscious in a Manhattan jail cell where he was awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges. His death has been ruled as suicide. Yeah, allegedly. U.S. officials are still looking into the case, and more civil lawsuits against Epstein's estate are in progress. Oh, isn't that nice? 9 new girls who have been abused by this sick bastard. 9 new girls, folks. Our next article, Daily Mail. Where is Prince Andrew's wanted woman? Ghislaine Maxwell is at the heart of sex claims about the royal, but hasn't been seen for months. Has she fled to Russia? Is she in Israel? Or even hiding here in Britain? Guy Adams sifts the evidence. It's one of the most extraordinary disappearing acts since Lord Lucan vanished into thin air after leaving the family nanny bludgeoned to death in the basement of his Belgravia home. How on earth is Ghislaine Maxwell, 57-year-old socialite, fixer, and alleged madam, and alleged pedophile, to one of the most high-profile child sex abusers in history, keeping her location secret? Oh, can I answer? I'm putting my hand up. Can I answer? Oh, okay, good. You called on me? Good. I'm going to answer that then. She's being protected by whoever her handlers were. Remember the article earlier about Ben Amash? She has handlers. Whoever the handlers are, they're formulating their game plan. They have her protected, and either she's going to be served up as some food, or she's going to be protected until the very end. I'm on the fence about it, but I would not be surprised if Ghislaine Maxwell and Prince Andrew had, air quotes, some kind of accident, folks. The woman at the center of the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, who once reveled in her connections with the rich and famous, has been virtually invisible since the autumn of 2016, when the American authorities began re-examining hundreds of criminal complaints against her former boyfriend. And how would she even know about that, guys? How would she know that she was having these complaints filed against her? How would she know that they were looking into her? Who told her? Who tipped her off? Where are these people? Where are the names? Subpoena her phone records. RICO right now. In 2017, lawyers acting for her in one of her several messy court cases told the judge that they had no idea where she was. Though they thought she might be in London, the attorneys claimed to have no current address. I don't buy that. I do not buy that. Hire private investigators to follow the attorneys to find out where she is. Do they need a whole game plan here? I can give them a blueprint. Am I the only one who's ever watched shows like, Succession or like Game of Thrones? Because that's all this is court politics, right? This is royal court politics, and these are the royal families that rule over us, folks. And they're playing their Game of Thrones. A New York townhouse where she'd previously lived had been sold as growing numbers of women came forward to accuse her of helping to facilitate Epstein's appalling crimes. Several have told how she recruited them as teenagers to visit the pedophile's various homes to perform erotic massages, quote-unquote. At least 4, including Virginia Roberts, the woman who claimed she told to sleep with Prince Andrew at just 17, have alleged in court papers that Maxwell personally took part in the abuse. There you go. What more do you need? Hello, police officers out there listening, FBI listening, CIA listening. I'm sure you're listening, CIA, right? I'm sure you're curious about what we're doing around these parts. Well, if you're listening, why aren't you doing your jobs? All right? She personally took part in the abuse, according to Virginia Roberts. And if we believe Virginia Roberts about Prince Andrew, then we must believe her about the rest of the things she said. And why must we believe her, folks? Well, because that's where the evidence points. And we believe the evidence. Hashtag believe the evidence. In the years during which Roberts was abused by Epstein, she accompanied Maxwell on at least 23 flights to various corners of the world. Think about that, folks. Roberts was on the plane less times than Bill Clinton. Roberts alleged that Maxwell had a viciousness to her. I don't doubt that for a minute. She comes from a socialite, very rich family, a corrupt father who was being run as an asset for intelligence. She grew up having everything she wanted. People like that could be vicious, folks. Very vicious. I know that in my professional life, what seems like ages ago, I dealt with a lot of prima donna, very rich people. Very, very rich people in two different jobs of mine. One of them had to do with entertainment and one of them had to do with gambling. I guess that's entertainment as well, but I've dealt with people like this that are very entitled. They believe everything should go their way. And if it doesn't go their way, well, it's obviously someone's fault. In Monday's bombshell BBC Panorama interview, Roberts wept and said Maxwell told her she had to do for Andrew what I do for Jeffrey. A disgusting sexual encounter followed, she claimed. Meanwhile, further proof appeared yesterday that Maxwell remained close to Andrew long after the prince had supposedly ended his friendship with Epstein in New York in 2010. 5 years after the men's infamous stroll in Central Park, a leaked email sent at 5:50 a.m. on January 3, 2015, reveals that Andrew wrote to Maxwell, got some specific questions to ask you about Virginia Roberts. The socialite, aka pedophile, replied, have some info. Call me when you have a moment. So, hold on. Let's stop there. First of all, let's think about this for a minute. Let's unpack this, because there's a couple of things there that are important, right? So, let's start with the email. Who leaked it? Where did the Daily Mail get the email, I wonder? Do they have other emails that they're sitting on? Are they going to produce them? So far, the Daily Mail has been spot on and great with their coverage. You know how I am. I'm pretty critical of the press. But the Daily Mail has done yeoman's work here. They're doing a great job, and they must be commended. Like I say, when they do a good job, we must commend them. And that means make sure you guys are giving them the clicks, right? Make sure you guys are going to check out these links. Don't just listen to me talk about it. Go and look at it yourself. Read it for yourself. And as if that were not embarrassing enough, new photographs have emerged of Maxwell joining a grinning Andrew and Epstein at Royal Ascot Ladies' Day in 2000. Another woman, Jennifer Arose, says in a lawsuit that Maxwell participated in and assisted Epstein in maintaining and protecting his sex trafficking ring. She just straight up calls it a sex trafficking ring, folks. A third, Sarah Ransom, has claimed she threatened to assault her if she refused to provide sexual services. A fourth, Maria Farmer, has claimed Maxwell and Epstein both sexually assaulted me against my will. Maxwell has consistently denied these and many other allegations in occasional court filings or legal statements, although the nature of her rebuttals has changed. In 2015, for example, she hired London law firm Devonshires, who told the Mail that all Epstein's crimes were committed long after Ghislaine Maxwell ceased to have dealings with him. However, it is now a matter of record that she was organizing Epstein's social calendar long after he had not just committed his crimes, but had also been imprisoned. For example, in 2010, she organized Prince Andrew's now notorious visit to the convicted sex offender's New York mansion. Last week, court papers were released in which Maxwell admitted for the first time publicly that she had, in fact, been employed to hire young women to provide Epstein with a daily massage during the years that the abuse occurred. However, she continues to deny deliberately procuring women for him to sleep with. Yeah, okay, right, sure. Why are they such liars? Why are all of these rich elite people such liars? Can't they just tell the truth? What is their aversion to the truth? Given the extent of the FBI investigation into Epstein and his co-conspirators, it's unthinkable that Maxwell will not at some stage face serious scrutiny from the forces of law and order. It was reported last month that she is willing to help the FBI with their inquiries in return for some form of a plea deal. Whether that strategy will work remains to be seen. Spencer Coven, an attorney representing 3 women, said that he believes the FBI is trying to establish a watertight case before arresting her. To do so, it will need to track her down, a task that has so far eluded the world's media. The only confirmed sighting of Maxwell since she dropped off the radar 3 years ago came in June when she visited London to take part in a charity motor rally. Details of the visit only emerged last month when Prince Andrew mentioned it in his Newsnight interview. So up until that point, nobody knew where she was for all these years, right? She just appears for some charity motor rally all of a sudden. Why weren't the media chasing her down in America? Do they not care? Oh yeah, I forgot. ABC, like they said. This is a stupid story. Nobody knows who Jeffrey Epstein is. Bunch of clownfish. Bunch of morons. Bunch of losers. Investigations revealed she was received in his private quarters at Buckingham Palace with 4 companions staying for 2 hours. The following morning, she set off for the rally to Geneva, sharing a car with chum Nettie Mason, wife of Pink Floyd star Nick Mason. Oh, is that right? Is that right, Mr. Nick Mason? Like I said last time, I guess we're all just a brick in the wall, huh? Hey, Ghislaine, leave those kids alone. Fitting song. That, of course, was 6 months ago. Former friends and family members have maintained a wall of silence. Calls and emails have remained unanswered, and the only person known to successfully make contact in recent days is her lawyer, Jeffrey Pagluccia, who appeared in court for her last week. To perform such a vanishing act in an age when we are generally caught on camera up to 300 times a day is quite a feat. In particular, if you are in the center of one of the most sensational news stories of the year. So where is she? Here, the Mail investigates just some of the potential locations. Beaches of Israel. The Maxwell family's ties to Israel were forged by her father Robert, one of the most powerful media magnates and most notorious fraudsters in modern history. Apple does not fall far from the tree. A lifelong campaigner for Israel who had lost most of his family during the Holocaust, Robert spent his business career investing in the nation's economy. Even after his epic criminality had come to light, he was given what was in effect a state funeral in Jerusalem and buried on the Mount of Olives. Well, we know why, folks, right? He was part of the mega group. He was also an asset of Israeli military and the Mossad. Military intelligence and the Mossad. So, of course, he was afforded this. And what he did for his country, hey, God bless, right? But what isn't okay is being involved in any sort of sex trafficking rings. Ghislaine, his favorite child, is well acquainted with the country. She visited often, having first spent time on kibbutz after leaving school, and was allegedly ostracized after embarking on an affair with a swimming pool lifeguard. Her impeccable network of contacts in Israel allowed Epstein to draw powerful men such as former Prime Minister Ehud Barak into his starry circle of friends. And that's another name we're going to have to get into soon, right? Because there's a whole lot going on over in Israel as we speak. They have their own problems with Benjamin Netanyahu and a long story that I'm certainly not going to get into right now. After Epstein's death in August this year, rumors surfaced that he and Ghislaine had been providing Israeli intelligence services with compromising and potentially valuable material about powerful associates. That led to speculation that she was being sheltered in the country, which also has the metropolitan party scene she relishes. Little corroborating evidence came to light, and it is said that the suggestion she is in Israel, put about by a mix of right-wing American publications and the Iranian regime's Tehran Times, are said to be little more than a conspiracy theory peddled by anti-Semites. That's disinformation being put out right there, folks. Come on. It's where the evidence leads you. I'm one of the most ardent supporters of Israel's right to exist. One of the most ardent supporters you're ever going to come across. You know what? Israel's one of the very few countries that I could see myself defending if push ever came to shove. And to call people anti-Semites because they follow evidence and it happens to lead back to Israel's deep state. Remember, it's not the Israeli people. It's not the Israeli government. It's their shitty-ass intelligence services just like ours. The Mossad, what do you think? They don't have any blood on their hands? Do you think that they're not crooked? They're just like their buddies in the CIA, folks. Come on now. There's nothing there. Look, there's nothing anti-Semitic about criticizing the Mossad, and to say that saying she's in Israel is anti-Semitic is ridiculous. Now, with that said, do I think she's in Israel? I have no idea. I have no evidence of anywhere she could possibly be. So I'll leave that up to the authorities. They need to figure it out. Putin's backyard. As the case of U.S. intelligence agency whistleblower Edward Snowden demonstrated, the Kremlin is happy to offer sanctuary to dubious Western fugitives caught up in high-profile criminal cases. Okay, well, which is it? Is he a whistleblower or is he a fugitive? See, this makes me mad. Edward Snowden is an American hero, folks. All right? I'll go on record saying that. This man brought to light some of the most egregious privacy concerns in the history of this country. And guess who they were all perpetrated by? That's right, our good friends in intelligence. Edward Snowden was chased from this country by the Obama administration. He was a whistleblower, all right? And now, all of a sudden, we want to afford so-called whistleblower rights and protections while Edward Snowden is left to blow in the wind? It's unacceptable, folks. We can't play one side of the aisle. We can't play one side of the game. All right? Either we have a justice system that works for everybody, or the justice system does not work. Putin and his associates, however, generally want something useful in return for sheltering them. Moscow is already home of John Mark Dugan, a former sheriff's deputy from Palm Beach who worked on the 2005 investigation into Epstein's child sex crimes. He fled to the country, which has no extradition treaty with the U.S., after being caught up in a subsequent hacking inquiry. See, look, I don't know about this Dugan guy. I've been trying to verify a lot of his stuff, and it's hard. If you have this stuff on Epstein, come with it, bro. What are you sitting on? What are you waiting for? Someone to pay you? Enough is enough already. If you have evidence, come forward. Dugan's records on the Epstein investigation, which he retains, are believed to be of great interest to Russia. Indeed, the Sunday Times reported that MI6 is concerned they might contain compromising material involving Prince Andrew. Maxwell is a good friend of Andrew. As such, she can make for a spectacular asset, and friends have reportedly wondered if she has fled to the country. There are unconfirmed rumors that BBC staff working on Monday's Panorama documentary, The Prince and the Epstein Scandal, expected it to contain an extended segment on Ghislaine Maxwell by reporter Dara McIntyre, who visited Moscow after being tipped off that she was there. However, it is believed they failed to track her down. Look, I don't believe that she's in Moscow. I don't think that. I don't know. Honestly, you know what? I'm gonna retract that statement. I don't have an opinion on where she is because I don't know, right? I'm not just going to run off of my yap like the rest of these clowns. I don't know where the hell she is. What I do know is where she should be, and that's in prison. UK links. Ghislaine owns a $3.7 million Mews house, £3.7 million Mews house in Belgravia, scene of the notorious 2001 photo of Prince Andrew placing an arm creepily around the naked midriff of Epstein's 17-year-old victim, Virginia Roberts. However, neighbors haven't seen her there for almost a decade, and it appears to be occupied by a tenant. The land registry lists the property as held in Maxwell's name, care of Malcolm Christopher Grumbridge, a lawyer who has acted for the family and works for the upmarket Hogarth Health Group in Chiswick. Like most people linked to Ghislaine, he is reluctant to discuss her whereabouts. What is everybody so scared of this lady for? Why won't anybody rat her out? What does she know that everybody is so scared of? I mean, what do they know that make them so scared of her? Ghislaine's brothers Ian and Kevin are resident in the UK, though neither were close to her. And she also has links to Oxford, where she grew up in Headington Hill Hall, a mansion leased from the council, and attended Oxford University. But rumors that she might be staying at a flat in the city owned by chum Tanya Rotherwick have also come to naught. Company's House has previously listed her address as Cottage at Wiltshire, which is the home of Catherine Vaughan Edwards, a former trustee of the Terramar Project, a now-defunct environmental charity Ghislaine set up in 2012, who says the property was used merely as a mailing address. Brazil bolt hole. As great train robber Ronnie Biggs famously demonstrated, the South American country provides a sunny bolt hole for people seeking to stay out of the reach of the UK and US justice systems. It was therefore with great excitement that Sky News reported in October that Ghislaine had been spotted on the Brazilian Riviera with Jean-Luc Brunel, a French model agent accused of trafficking large numbers of young girls to Epstein. The broadcaster claimed information gathered by a former U.S. police officer indicated that Brunel's mobile phone had been traced to an upmarket holiday resort called the Infinity Blue Resort and Spa in the seaside city of Santa Catarina. At the same time, it alleged Maxwell's U.S. mobile phone was also connected to a local phone network. However, Sky failed to find the pair. French connection. Ghislaine was born in Paris to a French mother, and there have been unconfirmed reports that she traveled to the south of France after Epstein's death. One alleged sighting was in the village of Meru in Provence, where her older sister Christine has lived with an American physicist's husband. But their property has been sold in 2015, and former neighbors say they had only seen Ghislaine once during the years the couple lived there. Meanwhile, her model friend, agent Jean-Luc Brunel, was photographed at a country club outside Paris in June. Since then, he has not been seen publicly. How are both of them gone to ground? And furthermore, I don't think Brunel was part of the intelligence racket. I think he was just being an asset by Maxwell and Epstein. So I wouldn't be surprised if this guy ends up with an accident either. Friend's mansion. Recent years have seen Maxwell quietly holed up in Manchester by the Sea, north of Boston, with tech company boss Scott Borgerson. It is believed she moved to the £3 million oceanfront mansion surrounded by several acres of private woodland in 2016, having allegedly persuaded Borgerson, 43, to abandon his wife and young children for her. They reportedly owned a yacht and several expensive cars and were often spotted walking their dog along footpaths. Aw, how cute, right? Look at the lovebirds. Aren't they cute? It seems that few locals were aware of Ghislaine's real identity or her links to the unraveling child sex scandal. Days after Epstein's arrest, pictures emerged of Maxwell's sister Christine picking bags at a hotel near the couple's home. However, she refused to answer questions about what she was doing there. Borgerson denied his former friend Ghislaine was in residence at the house, saying, "My private life is my private life," and he hasn't been seen there since. His private life is his private life, huh? Not if you're hanging out with an accused, sex predator, dude. I think there's going to be some questions asked, right, Mr. Borgerson, Mr. Lame-ass Borgerson? You see how all of these elite rich people rally around each other and circle the wagons when it's time? It's because they're all guilty of this nonsense, it seems like, right? It seems like they're all involved in one way or the other. None of them can tell the truth. From Trump on down, none of them know how to tell the truth correctly. So, like I said, I'm ready, willing, and wanting to go double barrel on anybody who was involved in this. If you have the evidence, you have the links that credibly put people on the island or put people in these homes, look, I want to read it and I want to put them on blast, right? We are so deep into this case now, but the layers just keep coming. Every time we peel off a layer, there's another layer, another layer, another layer, another layer. And what they're trying to do now is the disinformation. They're trying to sprinkle that in as well. So we're going to be real cautious about that. We're going to be careful, and we're going to make sure that we keep going until the very end, right? Because guess what? They are on the run now. We're on the offensive. The predators have now turned into the prey. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. If you would like to support the show, you could follow the GoFundMe link that will be in the description box, and you can support the show that way. And you could do both, or whatever you'd like to do, obviously. But if you would share the show with your friends, that would be awesome. The more people that hear it, the bigger our footprint gets, and the more access we have to maybe get some interviews going as well, right? I know I want to get some interviews on here. I want to get some people on the show, but it's difficult. There's a lot of there's a lot of red tape with people like this. I've reached out to some people in the case, and, I'm waiting to see what they have to say. But I will be back tomorrow morning with our morning update. I'll be back with the daily drop tomorrow, and if there's anything in the afternoon, I'll be rocking with that too. If you guys have any questions, comments, anything you want to talk about, shoot me some email. I want to hear from you guys. I love engaging with you guys. I've learned a lot talking to you guys, and I hope that every night we do these drops and we do the reading of these articles. I hope that you find it informative. I hope that it helps you follow the case a little bit better, as opposed to the whole hodgepodge that they like to throw at you in the media. One story here, one story there, no follow-up, etc., etc. All right, everybody, I will be back tomorrow, and I hope everybody has a fantastic night. Remember, together we are making media great again.